You are now in tune to the Keys to the City podcast.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Keys to the City, the long-awaited Keys to the City return. It's been, 2 months, Ted. Last time I was doing this, I was living down south, and now I'm only 5 minutes away from you. How things have changed so drastically. I hope everybody had a fantastic Labor Day weekend. Everybody must have, except, sorry, Ted, for the Florida Gators and the Florida State Seminoles, because, God, that matchup coming down in November is going to be one hell of a matchup between two awful Florida teams. Sorry, I just had to get that in. I know that you don't want to hear that, but hey, at least you got your NCAA football thing going.
Yeah.
Ted's just full of emotion and full of words right now. The man that just never stops talking has nothing to say. Man, has a lot changed in 2 months. But you also could be having a bad day like good old Clay Holmes. But that's another story and another topic that we will get into down the road because the Yankees will be playing in the postseason. It's just who's their closer going to be moving forward. We'll get Joseph Aguirre on joining us down the stretch. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Labor Day weekend has passed, so you know what that means. The NFL football is officially
here.
Almost, no, not necessarily. Is not here yet.
It's here, bro. Stop. It's here.
It is going to be back tomorrow night.
So that means it's here.
Back to back. No, it's not, because it's not 9-5 at 8 o'clock at night. But the defending two-time champs looking to go three-peat it for the first time since New England Patriots of the 04-05 New England Patriots, I should say, against the Baltimore Ravens in a rematch of the AFC Championship game. Two great matchups we have before we even hit Sunday, and two games that could be both, conference championship games. And Friday, don't forget, in Brazil on Peacock, you get the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Green Bay Packers. So two huge matchups to maybe could shape up the rest of the NFL season. But Ted, as you know, we are New York Giant fans. A lot has happened in the past couple months in this franchise. Man, where do we even begin? Because it feels like we're just back at square one with the New York Football Giants. A lot of questions, a lot of uncertainty swirling in the Big Apple. Well, both the Jets and the Giants, because we don't know what the hell's going to happen with both these franchises this year. But the New York Giants coming into this season don't have a lot of expectations, very little to none expectations. A lot of teams predict them playing for a top 3, top 5, or maybe even the number 1 pick once again next year's NFL draft. So, Ted, when we think about the changes, Saquon's gone, Xavier McKinney's gone, 2 captains. They bring in Brian Burns. They've revamped the offensive line. Daniel Jones is going to get another shot in year 6, where Giant fans are still arguing if he's going to be the future and if he's not going to be the future. It is effing unbelievable. It is unbelievable that we're in year 6 and we're still having this debate if he's going to be the future. It's just, people, you're losing your damn minds. You have a lot of issues if you continuously think that's going to happen. Meanwhile, we got guys like CJ Stroud, who's already a top, 6-7 quarterback in the league after one season, but we got people still thinking Daniel Jones is the future. Anyways, that's a whole other story, Ted. Let's get into it. We think about it, comes into the season with little expectations, like I said. But do we realistically, at 1 o'clock on Sunday, in those beautiful, beautiful 100-year anniversaries, these jerseys right here, Ted, these jerseys right here will be on display on Sunday. So, Ted, what do we have? Yeah, look, Ted doesn't want to talk about the Giants. He's already, they're boring me. What do we have for any expectations, any hope? What do you want to just see from this team going into week 1 and after that?
I don't know. Win the first game of the season. I can't even remember the last time. Wait,
Tennessee.
That was 2 years ago. Yeah,
it was 2 years ago.
That was a prosper. It's a winnable game. You know, Sam Darnold's their quarterback. I get it. They have a good offensive line. They still have Justin Jefferson. TJ Hawkinson's out with an injury, so he's on the PUP list. Their defense is nothing special.
Yeah.
I expect the Giants to win. With everything being said about the Giants, here's a realistic. Do I expect them to be good? No. Do I expect – here's it. Good in the sense of playoff team. No, I don't expect them to be a playoff team. But I look at a team where last year They were awful, all right?
To say the least.
But they still won 6 games. And then when you really break down the season, and you're like, well, they should have beat the Jets. Like, just make the field goal, and we beat the Jets. They had a realistic and golden opportunity to beat the Bills on Sunday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then the Rams late in the season.
Yep.
The missed opportunity on the swing pass to Barkley from Tyrod. So you look at a team like last year, it could be 8 or 9 wins, and they were not an 8 or 9 win team realistically.
No.
You know, everyone I saw Mike Clay had put out a report. I was listening to Michael K show the other day. He said he predicted the Giants to finish dead last as the worst team. Now,
in the NFC or just in NFL?
No, in the NFL.
Wow.
The Giants are not the worst team in the football.
They are not.
They're not the worst team in the NFL.
No.
The Patriots are worse than them. Wise. Carolina, I believe, is worse than them.
I mean, they're in the bottom. They're in the bottom of the league.
Arizona's there. You know, I think the Giants are as good as Minnesota. So wherever you think Minnesota is, I think the Giants are still realistic. The Giants are anywhere from a 5-win team, depending on how things fall, to a 9-win team.
Yeah.
And we don't have to repeat ourselves. I mean, we've been talking about this stupid nonsense for 6 years. The quarterback isn't good enough, but he's going to get another opportunity. We'll see what happens. You know, you question what, like, you want as a fan, right? We want the Giants to succeed. Let's get to the basics. We want the Giants to succeed. We want the Giants to win. No one wants to, you know, this is not a tank for anyone because realistically, I don't look at any of the quarterbacks coming into next year's draft class like I have to have. You know what I mean? How could are a couple of them going to be really good? You know, I still think there's some really good quarterbacks that we have. You know, we saw this weekend, like Cam Ward for Miami look really good for Miami Athletic, but I don't think he's a number 1 pick. You know, Dylan Gabriel is nice, but I think he's more Tua than
Shedeur look good.
Shedeur look good. You know, he's taking a beating, but I don't know if he's giant material. And Carson Beck looks good. You know, but he also plays with the best team in football, so you always question that in college. You know, Quinn Ewers is going to get his opportunity. There's some quarterback. Maybe the Giants should hold off like another year or 2 and wait for Arch Manning. That would be awesome. But listen,
awesome. Just run it back with the Mannings.
I look at the Giants fighting for 3rd place in the division. I think Washington is a legit team to at least make a run for the playoffs.
Okay.
With Jaden Daniels. Yep. You know, listen, with everything being said about the Giants, I think there's a lot of question marks. I think I look at the Giants, so I'm like, they're not shit, but they're not great.
I mean, they're not really good right now either.
I think a lot of people have high expectations for Neighbors, right? I think people look at him like he can come in and be a breakout star similar to like Beckham did when he came in as a rookie. But this time he won't be missing the first 4 games because of hamstring. I think Jalen Hyatt brings that extra. I look at the Giants wide receivers like there's speed.
They got speed.
Now, they got a lot of speed. They got a lot of athleticism. Devin Singletary is a really good running back. Played really well in Buffalo when he was with Brian Dable.
Played well with Houston last year.
But I know I had him in fantasy. It was a key contributor to my fantasy championship. You know, Tyron Tracy last year led the Big 12 in rushing as a first-year starter.
Big 10.
Huh?
He was at Purdue.
Huh?
You said Big 12, Big 10.
No, he was in the Big 12 last year, Tyron Tracy.
Purdue.
No.
Who was he with last year?
He was in Purdue?
Yeah.
I thought he was in the Big 12.
No, you were wrong again. He tried to get me to stop me on that one. Yeah, I swear to God. I swear to God. I swear to God, man. I swear to God. Yeah, go look it up. My big thing about this Giant team, it's gonna come down. It's been
he did play for Purdue. Shit.
No shit, Sherlock. I mean, come on. What do you think? You think this is rookie time over here? Come on.
That's kind of actually.
Here's what I was gonna say.
That's actually pretty impressive considering some of the running backs that were in that.
Biggest question mark, and it's been the biggest question mark for.
It was the quarterback.
No, it's not. Outside of that, it's the next biggest thing. It's the offensive line. I mean,
that's the other thing.
All we've been seeing from the past 5 to 6 years is movement, transition, and trying to draft players that we just can't figure it out. We can't develop these players. How other teams figure it out and get it going with their offensive lines, like the Lions, the Cowboys, the Eagles. I just don't get it. Then you look at the Giants, and you got you draft. Look, here's the thing. The Giants have drafted offensive linemen. They just don't pan out in the league. So we're all just sitting here like, what the fuck? Like, how is that possible? While the Cowboys do it, while the Eagles are doing it. How did they do it? But we're sitting here like, oh, here we go again. Like last year, 85 sacks as a team we give up. Awful. Yeah. We were the worst offensive line. We had JV players on playing against the Miami Dolphins, like guys that were on the practice squad.
Yep.
Now this is a whole new offensive line led by Andrew Thomas, the All-Pro guy, All-Pro left tackle. Andrew Thomas. You got John Runyon. You got Jermaine Illuminor. You still got Evan Neal, but maybe he'll be a backup.
John Michael Schmitz will be the center.
John Michael Schmitz. They have an offensive line that, from what people have said throughout training camp, Jets teammate sources have said they are improved, and that's a big thing. If you could get that offensive line to just be somewhat improved to what they've been in the past couple years, then maybe, just maybe, this offense could get something going. I know this is going to be a whole new offense because 2-6, the old 2-6 is gone. We have a new 2-6. His name is Devin Singletary, but Saquon Barkley isn't coming through those doors anymore. He's gone. He's playing in Philadelphia. He's going to have a field day. He'll probably have an all-pro caliber type season again with that offense. The Giants just have to try to stay competitive.
Not than that, we thought Evan Neal was going to be the guy, another guy.
It seems like there's still no identity with this team, and that's the big thing going forward. Is like you got to have an identity in a team in general, but offensively too. You got to have some sort of identity.
Yeah, because here's the thing: offensively, we're not an offensive talented team.
Let me finish my point. And heading into Sunday, Ted, right now you don't know what the identity is offensively.
Well, I would say the whole team doesn't have an identity.
That's what I'm saying.
I think most people look at the defensive line of the Giants as maybe the premier position in the Giants. You got Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence. I get it. Kayvon Thibodeau's playing outside linebacker. So they're running a 3-4 because Raheem Nunze Roaches is the D tackle. So it's Burns, Letts, and then Kayvon's gonna be the outside guy with Bobby Okwara, Micah McFadden, and then so they're running 2 linebackers. What are they running? I'm looking at their depth chart. So they're going 3 D line, 3 linebackers.
They're running 3-2-6?
No, they're running a 3-3-5.
3-3-5.
Yeah, so their defense, they're going to go nickel with Drew Phillips, Deonte Banks, Dane Belton, Jason Pinnock as a safety, and Cordell Flott. But didn't they just bring in
well, they got Isaiah Simmons too that they'll use. But those are the big concerns.
They brought in Adoree Jackson, right?
Yeah, they just signed him.
They
have big concerns heading into the 2 big concerns. The secondary, don't know how the secondary is going to pan
out.
Yeah, very young, but there's not any real stars. Deonte Banks, you're hoping can emerge as that number 1 corner for this team.
Yeah, I mean, talent-wise on this team, the Giants don't have a lot of talent. There's some really nice players. Burns and Dexter are the 2 aces are the 2 aces in the hole.
Yep.
Right. I think Kayvon, this is really a year I think where we really want to see him take that upper echelon.
You need to emerge as Aiden Hutchinson is as a great end right now. You have to emerge. Kayvon,
I want him to be
those premier edge rushers.
I want him to be what we just picked up in the free agency, Brian Burns, or traded for. I want that. Yeah, I want that type of upper echelon. Realistically, it's one of those things where, like I was trying to get before, and I don't want to kind of over talk the point, but it's like the Giants do well, Daniel Jones does well. It's like, all right, we're going to keep him for another year. But I still think, I think what we've already seen is, and you probably have been reading the reports, they were at the Colorado game.
Yeah,
they're scouting quarterback. I think they need. I don't give a shit what happens this year. The Giants need to draft a quarterback next year. I don't care. They need to draft a quarterback. If it's either in the first or second round, you got to bring in competition. Drew Lock and Daniel Jones are not the long-term answers. Neither is Tommy Cutlitz and Tommy DeVito. It was a nice run, which is incredible to think last year. You don't want them to lose, and they won, which was a great story. But it's like, we cost our chance of having possibly a top 3 quarterback in this draft. But whatever, it's typical Giants. Listen, it is what it is.
Yep.
What's my expectation is. Here's the biggest part is you don't know what teams are going to be because they based what the team's schedules are based on last year's. But Minnesota doesn't have Kirk Cousins no more. Like Sam Darnold is we got an even matchup in quarterback. Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones. I look at the Giants as Giants. Maybe Daniel Jones is better, but now Dable's going to be offensive play caller. I don't know if you saw that. Came out with that. There's a new defensive coordinator.
Shane Bowen.
Let's just win some games. Let's see what happens. The Giants are not a Super Bowl caliber team. They're not even in the top 6 teams in the NFC. The Giants could easily finish last in the division. I don't see them winning the division. I still look at Dallas and Dallas and Philly as the better teams. I think Philly's going to win the division. I mean, they should. They should average 30 points a game. I think Saquon.
They have offensively, they should.
I think Saquon. What I sent you the thing this morning when they were talking about. I think that's a legit great comparison. Like, hey. Oh, Vikings OC excited for Sam Darnold in their year to believe we can. That's great. We'll see what happens. But I think Saquon, based on what's going to happen with him, he has a realistic expectation to have that Christian McCaffrey type of impact on the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
Like the 49ers were good and they had weapons, but then they brought in Christian McCaffrey and like, oh, the only thing is their coach, I trust offensive play calling better than I do Kellen Moore. So with the Giants, I don't know what type of expectation realistically. I think the Giants is, as a fan, you want to see progress. You want to see better offensive play, both through quarterback.
Yep.
Listen, you're not going to get a better running back than what we've had the last 5 years, but it's not like this team was winning 11, 12 games when we had Saquon, bud. So, like Devin Singletary's a reliable running back. Maybe we'll see what happens with Eric Gray and Tyron Tracy.
Yep.
Let's see if Neighbors can be what everyone's kind of been talking about. I think the potential is definitely there. All pro type of receiver down the road, but I also say this. A lot of those guys that we talk about, look at their quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's why it's going to be very interesting in a fantasy world of whoever drafted Justin Jefferson in fantasy, what type of impact he's going to have with Sam Darnold. But then you look at his end of the season, he still put up numbers last year.
I feel like the Giants are going to win week 1, but that's just me. I feel like the Giants have the opportunity to win. It might be ugly. It might not be pretty, but I'll take a win over anything. I don't care if it's 10-0.
Let's start 1-0.
I don't care if it's 3-2. I really don't. As long as they can compete.
Here's the realistic thing.
Some sort of movement on offense, and they look like they have some sort of identity with this team overall, where I can say like, okay, it might be a struggling year, but we got something to move upon and move forward with.
Well, Trev, I mean, I just pulled up their schedule real quick on their website. So they got Minnesota and Washington in the first 2 weeks. Those are winnable games. Those are where like your spectrum is at, like where we're at. If we get our ass kicked, we're like, holy shit, we're really not that good.
Mm-hmm.
And if we win, both of them, it's like, all right, we got a chance to at least make the 7th seed. You don't know. Yeah. But they've always put the numbers out. Teams that start 2-0 or like 65% chance of making the playoffs, you're 3-0. Because then I looked, week 3 at Cleveland. I can't believe I'm saying this.
We know the schedule. The schedule doesn't.
Cleveland, Dallas, but then like week 5 you got Seattle. But then if you're 2-2, let's see what happens with Seattle. Then you got the Bengals.
They got to play one game at a time. One game at a time.
I'm looking at their schedule. There's some winnable games. The Saints are on the schedule. Tampa Bay's on the schedule. Washington twice. Carolina. We played Dallas. Played the Eagles. Got the Falcons, but we don't know what the Falcons are going to be. Yeah. The Colts. Anthony Richardson, is he going to stay healthy? Is he going to be good? Are they going to take the next leap? So the Giants have a tough schedule, but you know what? It's the NFL. Every game's tough. It's not. This is not college football where you're playing. Southeast Missouri State and Samford.
I just want the Giants to finish up my point with the Giants. I just want them to just be competitive. I don't want to be going in week 1 and saying, okay, they lose like 24-0. You're like, oh. So this is how it's going to go for the rest of the season. It's like, okay, guess I'll just be focusing on fantasy and just watching the games, because I really hope that the Giants can somehow have some sort of positivity, I should say, moving forward.
Well, it can't be any worse than what it's been.
It could. We'll see what happens.
Listen, if they win 3 or 4 games, whatever. For me, 3 or 4 games or 6 wins don't make much of a difference to me. Like, I got to see a couple. Like, they're not good enough.
I just want to see them compete. I've been saying it. Like, I feel like I'm on repeat every year we talk about the Giants outside of 2022. I just want to see some sort of identity and just moving forward, where I feel like, okay, the Giants are going to be in it for the long run, and that's what I'm hoping. I don't want to see another Brian Dable, Joe Shane. They face a lot of pressure moving forward too, because if they have another struggling season, are the Giants really going to be like, okay, here we go, back to square one all over again? It's just like, wow, we've become like the Cleveland Browns or like the Detroit Lions or
Well,
like
we
the
are.
Jacksonville
We are those
Jaguars.
birds.
But if we have to do that again, I'm really hoping that doesn't play out again for the New York Football Giants. I see them winning. It won't be pretty. I have like a 17.
20-17.
Yeah, 20 to
20-17.
17 type game. I could see them winning. I do see them winning because I don't trust Sam Darnold at all. I get it. They got Justin Jefferson, got Aaron Jones. They got some nice pieces, but their defense still has major question marks. Brian Flores is a good defensive-minded guy, so he's going to bring a lot of pressure. It's going to come down to the offensive line.
Flores.
Yeah, he's a defensive coordinator.
Sorry, Minnesota.
If
Sorry,
they're going to be able, if the offensive line is going to be able to just have some sort of just keeping Daniel Jones in the pocket, and if Daniel Jones can extend plays with his legs because he is fast enough, that could be a huge thing because we saw that in 2022. It helped the offense and made the offense tricky for defenses to handle. So we'll see how that goes coming Sunday at 1:00. But Ted, we've talked about the Giants for the first 20 minutes, but there's just so much more as well because this season, we could see some history. We could see a three-peat. We could see, Aaron Rodgers finally gets to play in gang green. We get to finally see him in a Jets jersey where he's going to play, and hopefully he can stay healthy. But, Ted, you're going into the season. There's so many storylines.
Yeah, there's.
If you had to come up with maybe – because I have a few. If you had to come up with like one or two storylines off the top of your head that you really think are like – those are the ones that I want to keep an eye on throughout this entire –
I think the three I have are probably the most – talked about things that kind of annoyed everyone. I think it's what happens with Dallas and Dak. What type of season? I think Dallas always has to be in the conversation, and especially now, everything that's going on with CeeDee and Dak. Like, does Dak get hurt? Does Dak play really well? Like, he almost had an MVP caliber season. Like, do they ever get a deal done during the season, or do they just wait till free agent? Like, I get it. It's not really a storyline with the thing, but like, where is his potential? I think the two other ones that really excite me. Well, it's always the other one. Listen, I always love to see how the rookie quarterbacks play. I really am interested in see how the quarterbacks play, especially because the guys that the teams that they're playing. First of all, the quarterback class is exciting. The two quarterbacks.
Pick which one, Jaden or Caleb? Who are you more excited to watch?
Both. I don't have any. I don't have any specifications. I'm excited for both of them because I look at the team as where they're not really going into so much. Like, Washington's not that bad.
Chicago could be like a dark horse to some people, and Washington might put up points. They just might give up a little more than their offense.
Well, I think Washington will be better, but it's tough to say that as like a Giant fan. But you're interested in seeing how Jaden Daniels perform. I think he's got Robert Griffin potential and even his own potential. I think he's. They got players.
In LSU what he did.
Yeah, they got players.
Kingsbury wanted him.
So they're an interesting team. Caleb walks into a situation where you talk about a team they're not going into a situation like Bryce Young was, like a total shit show where there's no weapons. Like that'd be like going to the Giants, where like one of those guys got drafted the Giants and you just don't have the pieces, because that means there would be no neighbors. So with that being said, I'm interested in the rookie quarterbacks, of course, and Bo Nix. You got Sean Payton. Did they finally get their guy? Did Bo get a chance, and when does Drake May eventually play for the Patriots? I think what you said it before. I think the Chiefs have to be one of the top stories. Three-peat, the pressure. Mahomes.
Can I say something? That's my number one storyline for this entire season.
And then the other last one is really it's the biggest boom or bust. It's the Jets. I just think the Jets are so interesting because this team potentially has Super Bowl caliber.
Absolutely.
Like, has like
absolutely.
There's a medal in the case that they can grab, but they really have to go through a bunch of like mazes and kind of checkpoints. First it's gonna be like, can Rodgers play in a full game? All right. Can they get through the Monday Night Football? Can he play in a full season? Can Mike Williams come back healthy and be somewhat of what he was for the Los Angeles Chargers? Can the offensive line, who they've through draft picks and free agency, can they stay healthy and protect? Because they have a legit running back in Breece Hall. They have a star receiver in Garrett Wilson. We know what their defense is. Their defense is legit. Their defense is trouble. And imagine what this defense could be when they're not trailing.
Can I say something?
In the fourth quarter? Because
that's my upset.
Because that team, that team right there is.
I think I'm going with that for my upset. I think that's my upset of the week.
I don't know if I call it.
Well, think about it. Trent Williams is just coming back. Ayuk's just coming back. our boy Christian McCaffrey, who now we have to keep an eye
But I
on.
think
because
that
we
I
both
see
have
that.
a-
I think that. Yeah, I see that.
I think the Jets and Purdy. That is a massive year for him.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a great year last year. You have another great year. What's San Fran doing? How much are we forking up to him? I mean, my big thing is who's dethroning the Chiefs? Because we all thought last year was like, okay, we're going to take a break from the Chiefs. We're going to have somebody different. And then February 11th happened, and the Kansas City Chiefs won again. So I'm sitting here thinking, well, we just went 20 years of one franchise dominating the entire NFL, with the exception of the New York Giants beating them. That was the New England Patriots. Are we really, if they win again this year, football fans in general are really going to be like, oh, shit, we're going to do this again.
Well, yeah, because they had so many issues last season.
Who's the team, AFC or NFC, that thrones them?
I would
That's
say.
the question.
Well, see, here's the thing. We thought the Bills were the team last year. The Bills have taken a step back.
Is there, they will always be in contention for a Super Bowl.
I think you look at the Bills. Okay, so what we've talked about with the upper echelon teams is, okay, the Chargers taking a step back because of talent, but I think they'll be much more competitive with Harbaugh and the thing. But that division is the Chiefs to win. All right.
Yeah.
You look at the AFC East. I think the Jets, potentially talent-wise, have the team to beat them. They can bring the pass rush. They have the cornerback. They have the quarterback that's not scared of the moment, and they have the weapons. Rodgers is not scared of the moment.
I don't trust Rodgers at all in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, buddy. I don't think he fears Mahomes.
I'll tell you.
And listen, they've never played against each other. Every time neither one has been hurt.
There's one team I know that.
Well, hold on. So the Bills. So here's the thing: the Bills. They've taken a step back, and then we thought the Bills, that was going to be their team. Remember, everyone that was on the Bills. Then last year, you had the Ravens, which was by far the best team in football last season. Yeah. But they've taken a step back. They've lost their defensive coordinator, multiple defensive coaches. They've lost a bunch of players through free agency. I get it. They brought back Derrick Henry. I believe I heard the other day they have 2 or 3 new starters on their offensive line, which, that takes time to gel. And I look at the Ravens like, who is their receiver? Like, I get it. Lamar is a great runner. Derrick Henry is a great runner. But you got to throw the ball in football. Like, Zay Flowers, really? Like, he's going to be that. I'm sorry, but I'm taking Neighbors over Zay Flowers. Like, Bateman, he's been in the league for 3 years. Mark Andrews is coming off an injury. So when they have to throw the ball, who is going to be their guy to step up and beat coverage one-on-one?
Isaiah Likely, baby.
So, and then, the Bengals have potentially the team and the quarterback to do it, but right now they're dealing with Jamar Chase's situation.
He's practicing today.
Oh, is he? So he's going to play?
I don't know. Don't know, but he is.
Here's what I would say with this. I agree with, and can we just talk about this for 2 seconds? I agree with these organizations. Like, everyone just thinks, the next man up, you should get paid now. You should get paid now.
A whole other year.
You got 2 more years. And they can franchise
crazy, but usually they do it a year before. So realistically,
usually they do it in year 4.
He's a year early.
Yes.
A year early.
What I would say, okay, this is what I would say from the player's side. And I mean, if you're a manager, do it now, because I don't know who the next receiver is up, but as we've seen, is the longer you wait, the market goes up. Imagine if you signed Jamar Chase in the summertime before Justin Jefferson got his money, before CeeDee Lamb gets some money. Jamar Chase now wants more than CeeDee Lamb money. Like, the longer you wait,
just ask Dallas.
The longer you wait, imagine if you just gave CeeDee Lamb the money, like right after the Super Bowl, sometime in the offseason, before Amon St. Brown got paid, before.
I mean, think about Tyreek got paid. So all the big time receivers outside of Jamar Chase have gotten paid this year.
All the
Waddle, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk, Amon-Ra. I mean, those are some of the best in the game.
Those are the top 7 or 8 guys in the league.
Those are.
I mean, there's not many guys that I could think that are better than them at their position. No, I mean,
not really. No,
I'm trying to think of a guy like Diggs is falling off. Miami guys got paid. I mean, it's funny because both Miami receivers got paid.
Rams don't need to pay either one of their guys.
Cup got paid a couple years ago. That $27 million seems like a steal now.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, both Miami receivers got paid. Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Both Eagles receivers got paid. Amon got paid. Jefferson. So you're talking about all the big time receivers got paid. That's why the Chase thing is nuts.
So you want to hear my big storylines going into this season?
I think the NFC teams have a better. I think the NFC teams have a better chance of knocking off.
I mean, my big storyline.
It's funny because when we've done the show the last couple of years, it was the AFC teams like Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City, Cincinnati were the upper echelon. Now I look at the NFC and I'm like, I think it's come back full circle. I'm sorry, but I love Green Bay. I think potentially if Jordan Love can take that next step, they got weapons all over the field on offensively, and I think their defense is good enough to be. I think Detroit is a front runner for the thing. I think they may hold on. San Francisco has to be Super Bowl caliber. I mean, they're bringing back everyone. And I think this is their last shot. And I'll be honest with you, as much as it's tough to say, I think the Eagles, potentially because if Hurts can play to where he was 2 years ago, where he was MVP caliber, Super Bowl caliber, that offensive line is legit. They got weapons all over the field, bro. They just traded for Jahan Dotson. They got Devontae Smith. They got A.J. Brown. What do you want to do? You want to play two safety high? We're going to run an RPO, and we're going to run with Saquon up the middle all day, and you can't stop it. You want to bring the safety down? You're going to play man coverage on one of those two receivers. Oh, and we also have Dallas Goedert as a tight end, a reliable pass catcher. So, like, where is their weakness offensively? They should be putting up 30 points a week. But that's all going to be based on Sirianni, Kellen Moore, and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, it comes down to coaching in that situation, how you were able to feed all your playmakers the ball. I mean, my storyline's easy. Like I said, who's the team, NFC or AFC, that's going to dethrone the Chiefs, if any of them do it? And another one is Rodgers or Burrow, the biggest what if in the AFC, because if those two guys stay healthy, Rodgers and the Jets, what they can do. They have talent all over the field. It comes down to the coaching. Can Nathaniel Hackett and Robert Saleh, get their heads out of their asses sometimes and figure it out, because you got the talent to do it.
Who do you think the team?
I do expect Devontae Adams to be playing for the New York Jets at some point this season.
Do you see?
And then Burrow is the.
Who's the team you thought Kansas City could knock off Kansas City? You were saying something before.
And then Burrow is the other guy, because he's the one guy that has actually beaten Mahomes in a playoff game that we can remember. He's
like the only. Him and Brady are the only ones
outside of Brady. So those are my two biggest what ifs. I also say, the Lions, do they continue to feed off of last season's incredible success, or do they just go back to the same old Lions? I don't see that happening, because they have a stout team offensively. Their defense is going to only improve. And the final one, kind of like the Buffalo Bills, but they're in the NFC. Is this the final chance for the Niners? How many more times are we going to be like, oh, the Niners in the Super Bowl? They're going to be like the Bills of the 90s, where they went to freaking 4 straight Super Bowls and they never won anything. It's kind of like the Buffalo Bills.
I truly believe this is their last chance, because I think everything has come full circle this year between the Ayuk deal, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams is like 37 years. Like McCaffrey's got I would say 2 legit offensive player of the year kind of years left, and then I think depending on what
I hope this year is one of them. I need him for freaking fantasy.
Yeah,
finally took him number 1 after 3 years, and he's already dealing with a calf injury, but he's practicing yesterday, so that's always good news for both of us.
I look at San Francisco if you don't win it,
I don't trust.
If you don't win it this year,
Kyle Shanahan, and I don't trust Brock Purdy.
If they don't win it this year, I just think they missed. I mean, we're talking about what a golden opportunity missed, because you think about all the players, the defensive players, everyone they brought in from offensive line, Trent Williams. I mean, they've brought in players. They drafted Kittle.
That's why it's crazy,
and that's why. And here's the thing: we also know this, and this is probably the most major question that we won't have no answer until the end of the season is injuries. Yeah, the healthiest teams, the teams that don't face
that's why I always say
major injuries.
That's why it's crazy to say that Kyle Shanahan's like a top 3 coach, because I don't think he's a top 3 coach.
I think talent. Listen, here's the other thing.
Talent. What the hell does talent-wise for a coach mean?
Well, no. What I'm saying is the way he runs his.
I would say Reed. I still take McVay. I think McVay's. But
I think if Brian Dable had the San Francisco team, I think he'd be really good too.
I'm sorry, of course. If anybody with an offensive mind.
No, not anyone.
But somebody with a decent mind like that, I feel like could succeed instantly with the talent that's on that team. It's just Kyle Shanahan's been in some Super Bowls that you're like, well, bro, you could have won at least 1 or 2.
Question for you.
What?
No, I was going to let you finish. There's one team I wanted to talk about too before we end the show or whatever we move on to. It was the team from the AFC South.
Oh, the Texans. Yeah,
you're
like the Lions this year. Are you feeding off of every high expectation?
But I feel like they have
a lot of people last year came into the season saying the Lions could be a dark horse team in the NFC, and the NFC. Well, I mean, realistically, had it not been for a terrible coaching situation and a choke job, The Detroit Lions would have been playing on Super Bowl Sunday this past year, but they didn't. They were talking about Detroit all last year. Oh, they got the talent. They're finally figuring it out. They got hot 2 years ago, and then they fed off of 2 years ago success, end of the season success. They continued. Can they now get to that point where, like, hey, we're playing on Super Bowl Sunday? The Texans, they're another team. C.J. Stroud, love him. Think he's a top 5 quarterback. Could take his talents even further after this year if he goes off.
With the amount of talent they have.
With the weapons he has now offensively, and the defense that's shocked a lot of people with a great young-minded, defensive-minded coach, I should say, in DeMeco Ryans and Bobby Slowick, who's a solid offensive-minded coach who was getting head coaching opportunities this offseason. Yeah. You put that all together, you're looking at the team that could be the team to dethrone the Chiefs of getting a three-peat. But it's so wide open right now, but you can't just sit. You're coming in today, on September 4th, and you're saying, the Chiefs are the best team and the heavy favorite. They have to be, especially after last year, because we all anticipated, they're just going to go one and done because they have to play on the road. That didn't happen. They did it again because they found a way to win. So it's like
they still have the best player.
Yeah, as long as they they got the best quarterback, they got the best player, they got the best tight end, they got the best defensive tackle in football,
best coach,
and they got the best coach. But Dexter Lawrence is still going to take that title. Just saying. But it's like
he's good, but I don't know if he's better than Chris Jones. I don't know.
Incredible. Do not disrespect Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah, but Chris Jones
is so good.
Chris Jones' pass rushing ability and to be able to go.
Dexter Lawrence, bro.
Yeah, but Chris Jones goes.
Incredible.
Yeah, but Chris Jones.
Dexter stats past
Chris Jones goes inside outside.
I don't know, man.
He literally wins them Super Bowls. He literally wins them Super Bowls.
I get it. I bet Dexter Lawrence would do the same thing if he was that type of player.
That's why it's
Giants. He's on the Giants, so I mean, maybe
that's why I say when we talk about the Giants. Yeah, but that's why I say when we talk about the Giants, and you talk about talent, you're like, we're not even close to some of these teams in talent.
No.
I mean, you look at the Rams with Kyron Williams and Kupp and Puka.
But they can't. They haven't been able to develop these players.
I mean, you look at San Francisco. You look at the Bears. The Bears are more talented than the Giants.
Yeah, but they are. That's true. But they got to put it all together. They are the Bears. But teams like you just said, like the Eagles, the Bills, they've had stability. They've had always that consistency. The Giants have had different coaches, different regimes over and over again. It's just like there's no consistency in that franchise. So it's like everything's just like, can we just start from square one all over again and just find a way to get this?
Well, because there's a potential that if God forbid the season goes again, the Giants could have another new head coach next season.
And a new
seriously.
GM.
No, I don't know
because I don't think they're going to do the coach and GM thing again. They just did that with Judge and Gettleman. I feel like that's the worst thing. If you're going to just close it out,
they did. You mean Shane and Dable? Shane and Dable.
No. I'm saying they did it when they fired Shermer. They kept Gettleman. Then they hired Joe Judge. I feel like that's a bad situation because it's not their guy, and it never really worked. If you're going to scrap it, scrap it.
Yo, how about Joe Shane and the reports that Joe Shane offered more money to Josh Jacobs than Saquon?
But some people said that was false. So there's like
he said it. Yeah, I don't know.
There's a mixed review. There's a mixed type of argument going on with that. I don't know what to expect from the Giants. I just want to see some sort of competition before we get off today. Let's give our predictions quickly of the two big games that are happening.
Sorry, I was just looking at all the games.
Chiefs or Rams or Ravens?
Chiefs. I mean, how can I bet against the Chiefs? I'm the idiot.
Last year the Lions went in there.
Listen, but I don't care about week one in the sense of who wins.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying who wins.
But I'm excited because the first two games of the season are, like you said, I think you hit them nailed on the head when you started the show. Do
you know the 4 primetime games this year in week one are huge games?
All possible.
All could be Super Bowl / conference championship games.
Pretty much all conference championships except for the Jets, 49ers.
Yeah. And
Rams, Lions, absolutely could be a conference championship. Eagles, Philadelphia, easily. Baltimore, Kansas City. Right now, if I was picking the AFC, I would pick those two teams to repeat in the conference championship. The NFC, I think, is wide open because I see Green Bay and Philly easily. I could see the Rams and Lions, and then you have to add San Francisco.
I'm excited.
I'm wondering what type of year Jacksonville has. Do they?
Well, they play Miami this week too.
I mean, Dallas and Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Brady's doing the game.
I know. That'd be great.
So you know,
Indianapolis
and that's another team. I mean, we could talk for hours about this. Cleveland, bro, loaded with
I know.
talent.
I picked
Chubb's going to come back. They'll have 2 running backs. It'll be good. Offensive line is solid. The question is going to be Deshaun Watson. Like, can he come back and play? Be like any? That's why, like, when we were talking about what's going out, I got to go out Sunday. Like, I need to see I need to hear the crowd, the Bears chopping. We got to be going. We got to see action. I don't want to sit here and just stare at one game. I mean, because literally, I mean, seriously, like, think about it. It looks like the 1 o'clock games are going to be Atlanta, Pittsburgh. Very interested to see what happens with Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins return, Arizona, Marvin Harrison, Kyle Murray, and Josh Allen going against each other. Tennessee Bears, whatever. But that's more about. Actually, that would be interesting to see Will Levis. They brought in DeAndre Hopkins. They traded for Calvin Ridley,
Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears.
Yep. So what? Yeah. Then New England Bengals. Ugh. Whatever, but hey, the Texans Colts game, AJ, you're gonna have Stroud versus Richardson. You know, Miami Tua versus Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville, Carolina Saints, and the Giants, Minnesota. Yay! Let's watch Sam Darnold versus Daniel Jones.
Hey, you know, football's back. I can't wait.
I mean, listen, the night game, Denver and Seattle, Bo Nix. Let's see what happens with Seattle. You know. I'm excited for this weekend. That's why you got to go out. We got to go out for the games.
I work until 1, bro. I can't do anything about it. I work until 1 o'clock.
Okay, so 1 o'clock you meet us. Paulie said he'll Uber you. He'll pay for your Uber to come meet us.
No, F that.
No, you got to come to where we're going. We're going out. We got to see multiple things.
I got to hang out for my father.
No, you can come home and watch the night game with Dad or another, or you get Thursday, Friday, whatever.
We also got to put
17 more weeks.
We also got to put out our predictions before tomorrow's massive game. Because
I have no idea who my Super Bowl prediction is. I haven't even really thought about
it. Start using your brain.
Why? You have yours?
I do.
What do you think? You got Chiefs again versus 49ers?
Can't tell anybody.
Yeah, you can't. Just tell and then we'll post it.
No, I don't.
Why can't you? Yeah, just who cares?
Why? I got the Chiefs against the Green Bay Packers.
And we got some great college basketball.
No. I'm not going with the Green Bay Packers. I'm going with the Super Bowl that almost was last year. I'm buying into Detroit Lions. Bill Zulo, I'm going with the Detroit Lions to play and represent the NFC this year. And I got the Chiefs going to be there again.
I tell you, we got some great
college. They're the most consistent, and there's too many what ifs in the AFC for me to say yes.
Last year we thought their offense sucked.
The whole AFC East is like, I don't know what to expect from that. The whole AFC South, I think, is just going to beat the shit out of each other like usual.
Jets versus Green Bay.
The Texans it could be great, but we don't know yet.
Can you imagine that Super Bowl?
Huh?
Jets versus Green Bay in the Super Bowl.
That'd be something.
Rodgers loses in the Super Bowl to the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love wins the Super Bowl.
I'd be all for it. But, ladies and gentlemen.
And there's a lot of good college football games this weekend, too, bro.
Well, we're going to be preoccupied. So we can't see them.
I'll be in church like this.
We'll be like that. Yeah, like this. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are back after our 2-month
hiatus.
We are back. Summertime is over. Summertime's coming to an end. We are back with football. The boys of fall are officially back with college football starting last week or 2 weeks ago. Sorry, Florida State fans, your season's over already. And then we got the NFL tomorrow starting. Can't wait. Chiefs, Ravens. Then in Brazil, Packers against the Eagles. All great matchups this weekend. Go Big Blue. Really hoping for the best because, for goodness sake, I can't take it anymore. I can't take this shit no more. Ladies and gentlemen, we are Keys to the City. We'll see you next episode. We are out.
You are now in tune to the Keys to the City podcast.